Good morning and welcome to a brand new week. I am excited to have you join us on this edition of Now Streaming, showing on the Advent Cable Network Nigeria. My name is Mojisola Olatinwa, and with me this beautiful morning is
Hassan John.
Okay. Good morning. Also with us in the studio is the Reverend Edidion Jonah Aino. She's the CEO, Mothers in Nigeria Foundation, co-pastor, Dove Life International Ministries. She's also an aspirant vying for the position of the senator representing Akwa Ibom Northeast Senatorial District, Akwa Ibom State. You're most welcome to the show this morning, ma'am.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming. Viewers, we look forward to having you on the show this morning, and you can join us via our phone lines or social media handles showing on your screen as we discuss trending news and issues affecting us. Let's get into the trending news of today, the 11th of April 2022. And we've had social media, the mainstream media, all buzzing over the weekend up until this morning. We have the popular musician Ayefele, whose radio station was attacked during a live broadcast by robbers in Ibadan. That's some Fresh FM in the early hours of yesterday. They came in, carted off laptops, laptops, phones, personal belongings of members of staff. And that was around 6:30. They didn't hurt anybody, but they took away valuables. Your thoughts, your comments on that briefly?
Well, I think, anytime you talk about incidences like this, the issue and the problem always is the state of the security in the nation. We always cannot shy away from the fact that the more people become brazen like this and the more you start having anarchy, then it raises a lot more questions on where we are going. Whichever way you explain it, it's that people can organize and attack, institutions, either their villages or their organizations or their people or whatever it is, because you can't isolate this to a lot of the, banditry and the attacks and the robberies and the kidnappings and everything that is going on. So I think it just raises a lot of questions.
Ma'am, any thoughts on that?
I think since they didn't kill anybody, could be they were after a particular news item in his hands.
That's another thing entirely.
Yes, because if they really actually wanted to kill or destroy, they could have killed somebody. But those gadgets they took must have something very, very important to them.
Yeah, but even then, when you start having people then, which is again the trend that we begin to see, you begin to see those who do not like you or like your opinion, they feel they can grab an arm and attack you.
At any time.
We have a problem. We have, because now that we're going into politics, so what happens if people begin to descend and they don't like your way of life, they don't like the way you are speaking, they don't like your ideas, they don't like your political party, where do we go? If this one gets away with it, any other person too could do that.
Get away with
it's a scary situation, I think.
Okay, it is a scary situation. And then talking about elections, let's move on to elections, 2023 elections. And we have this headline that says, I want to complete what APC started, and that's quoting Vice President Oshibajo. We also have Amechi declaring intention to run for presidency. It's been a very busy weekend. And then we have Peter Obi saying, Nigeria's biggest problem is leadership failure.
The names are increasing. It's fun. I think a lot of people really want to come out and serve. I don't find anything wrong by the vice president coming out to be president. He has been in the system, and through experience, he might feel that can help this nation. Amechi too had been in government.
Yes.
And I think we'll see a lot of more of these people
coming out.
If they have the vision and they truly, want to come out, let everybody come on the table and let's see.
And so far, apart from one very old woman, I've forgotten her name, no woman has come forth for presidency. Don't we find that rather curious?
I think they're still coming out.
Because
by the end of the day, I'm sure we'll have more than 100 presidential aspirants. So it's Nigeria. It has happened before. It will continue to happen. But let me quickly say that, well, starting from, I think, Obi's comment about the failure of leadership, I would say, where has he been all this while? You should have known that long before now. It's nothing strange or new. That's why we're having the problems we're having, like you rightly said. But I think Oshibanjo, and I saw quite a number of his campaign groups this morning excited all over the place here in Abuja because of this declaration. But let me say, when I saw the headline, I will continue what APC has started. I said, I would say, look.
That was not properly coined.
No, it was not. If he said that, it is not a smart way to go. Anyway, I understand in the sense that now he wants the primary ticket. Yes. And there are certain groups that he needs to appease. So that is fine.
That's politics for you.
However, the problem is, Oshibanjo already has built an integrity for himself, even within the chaos we've seen in this administration, a lot. And the for and against and the problems and all the rumors of whether he was pushed aside or he wasn't pushed aside and everything that we've seen and it's on the papers and on news all the time. But the issue is,
okay,
I would suggest that we begin to see him carve his own niche. Let's hear what he wants to do about insecurity. Let's hear what he wants to do with education and also let's hear what he wants to do with petrol. Let's hear let's hear what he has, because he's intelligent.
Yes.
He, at least intellectually, will say he's sound. He's a professor. When it comes to governance and politics, he's been in there now for 8 years, so
he knows how.
So he should know what should be done. But also, I would say, he would have a better understanding now of the undertows and the undercurrent of the politics in this country. The different factions, the different groups, north, south, east, and west.
Okay, but I want to quickly bring up the matter of the new Electoral Act and that an appointed officer must resign before contesting.
Was that for civil servants or is for all political appointees?
He was
elected. He wasn't appointed.
So he's elected and not appointed.
Otherwise, you tell the president if he wants to contest. Otherwise, you tell the president to resign and then to contest. So I don't think. Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert, but I think that shouldn't affect him.
I think it is actually for political appointees. But I just said let's bring it up.
Anyway,
let's bring it up.
Our senatorial aspirant perhaps has a thought in this.
No, I think that. Issue is for those that are in government. Maybe if you are a civil servant saving and you want to come out to, vie for any political post, you have to resign because government is paying you, even though the other people also receive allowances. And I think it's for that group of people.
So that means Amechi.
No, Amechi was appointed.
Exactly.
He's
so
a minister.
Appointees, yes. Ministers, I think, fall under that.
So
exactly.
He should resign immediately.
Okay.
Immediately.
He should resign. Oh, okay. And then to further quote Peter Obi, he says, zoning of the presidential ticket is a humble appeal for inclusion and fairness.
Yes. Because the North have held this position for these 8 years. If they want this peace to reign, I think they should just put it on the table of zoning. Okay, it doesn't matter where the southern region it falls on. Whosoever is able to, whether southeast, southwest, south. But the truth should be told here that it should take that direction.
Of zoning.
Yes.
So my only problem with the zoning is the goalpost keeps changing in the middle of the game. Because if it favors the north, they say let's zone. If it doesn't favor them, they say, no, let the best candidate win. But even within the zoning, you're doing only north and south. But meanwhile, you have 6 geopolitical zones. So you just keep changing the goalposts here and there because it suits. So if we say zoning, I think the issue of that zoning is not crisp and clear, because it serves the interest of the north to say, okay, it is our turn now up north, so next time it's going to be your turn south. Then south, you sort out yourselves, whether the southwest or the southeast, you sort yourselves out. But in between them, then they now create a fight. At the end of the day, they say, okay, well, you can't give a candidate, so up north we are ready with a candidate, and here we produce a candidate. So it's just these political intrigues that you see. And so I think we need to wake up to a lot of these intrigues we see.
Okay, so what are you advocating?
I'm saying if we must do a zoning, like you said, in terms of fairness, the template of the zoning now is not even fair in the first place, so he can't make that claim.
Okay.
He can't. So if we must make that claim, let it be crisp and clear, even within the party tickets, because now they say, so which is another problem. Now they'll say, oh, well, it is just a party arrangement. In other words, Nigerians don't get involved in this. When we are ready, we'll give you who we want.
Okay, so the zoning should either be southeast. This
let it be enshrined.
If it is going to the south, let it be specific southeast or southwest.
Exactly. So that we all know that, okay, this is where we're going to get it from.
Yes, because see, these are crisp,
that sounds
clear.
fair.
These are crisp, clear, separate entities in this country. The southwest, predominantly Yoruba, and it's a nation, a fully developed area. When you go to the southwest, you can get the southeast. You can start. You still have again the Niger Delta region. Well, you have and when you in fact come even to the middle belt, because when you say north, in other words, everybody around
everybody from the river Niger and above
is already north, and they say we are not north. So you try to force a political arrangement that does not even exist, and then you say claim fairness. It's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not fair. And talking about things being unfair, we have another totally unrelated topic that really made a buzz over the weekend. We had the death of the popular musician Osinachi, and a lot of feedback and a lot of comments. So let's quickly talk about domestic violence. And I want to quote one particular headline. It says, "Domestic violence in marriage, why divorce is not the answer." And this is quoting our very own Venerable Dajor right here in Abuja. And he's saying, his take is, look, these are avoidable problems, like premarital counseling, marital counseling, is the solution. So can I have your thoughts on domestic violence and the church, just briefly, and in line with everything that has been making the rounds over the weekend?
2017-18, my NGO,
Yes.
Mothers in Nigeria Foundation, we had to partner with an organization from Spain.
Okay.
And the people came to work with us. They spent 1 year. And we kept on creating awareness, putting women in groups to talk to them about what they can do, what they should do. Number one, are you really matured before you enter the marriage contract? If you are a Christian, what did you hear? What did the church tell you about marriage? Because some people just come into marriage and they feel that it's going to be rosy from January to December. When there's a little conflict, it's either they fight or they run away. As a Christian woman, what are you supposed to do if you are faced with a husband that is violent?
Abusive.
Number one, you can pray and you can bring out that godly woman character that will even detonate the anger in him. I want to maybe come up with a little experience I had some years back. In my own early years of marriage, my husband was that forceful, person. Right now it's like ice water. What did I do? I made sure I prayed and I make sure when he's angry, I become like ice water. In fact, I brought in the woman aspect of me, the feminine aspect of me, and with the word of God, and detonate that thing. You know, sometimes women want to compete with men. You know, I don't believe that a woman should rule over the man, because God has put some values. God has put the leadership on the man, and a man will come up with issues, decisions in a family, and you as a woman, instead of, you know, obeying the man, respecting the man, that is what they need, that respect. And, you know, a woman will fight, you know, and that is what causes the problem. Any woman that will, you know, respect the views of the man, even if in a later time you can still turn it and will it for him to see your reasons.
Okay, now I have a friend who's in an abusive marriage and has done all this.
And he's still not working?
She ends up in the hospital most of the time.
You know, let me quickly.
You know, so how do you counsel such a young, and you know, to be candid with you, the first time she opened up and said, "This is it," and I'm like, so what are you still doing there? I mean, that was my first reaction.
No, you see, you're right in the sense that
I was worried for her. I mean, this is somebody that has cases of miscarriages, has cases of broken ribs, and this is not once in 1 year.
That man might be sick. Could be
so in a situation like that, what do you counsel such a Christian? And she tells me, I can't leave because she says, I will fail God if I leave. And so she's praying.
Number one,
and we're also praying for her healing.
That man, if he's sick, because you cannot be beating and maiming all the time. You know, a woman that God put in your life, that man could be psychotic, has a mental problem. So they could check, the church or the family could check that and free that woman from yes.
Constant,
you know, I just want to say beating. I just want to say that, remember that I think it is only within the Christian context that you don't talk about divorce.
Yes.
Technically speaking. I don't know about other faith groups, but I know with Islam, with secular, with government and everything, there is always room for divorce. It's only within Christians because of the unique nature of the institution of marriage.
And some cultures, actually.
Yeah, and some cultures, really. But in this day and age, you find out that the challenge really is the church within a Christian context must take responsibility for this kind of issues. But again, what complicates the matter is when it comes to issue of marriage between a husband and a wife, the question is at what level do people from outside begin to intervene? Because most of the time it is when it gets very bad, like the case you just pointed out. Because the woman continues to endure, she endures. It is when people start seeing bruises, miscarriages, but when the thing started, that should have been a solution. But you see, it's difficult. It's a very complex thing because you just don't interfere into people's private and marital lives. But what the issue I want to say is, just like you quoted the Venerable Dajuro on this, the fact is, it is true that within the Christian context, there's no room for divorce. However, there is always an exception to the rule. There will always be an exception to any rule. So the point is, therefore, the church needs to intervene and find out that at what point would you want to sacrifice a marriage that is already dead to the death of the member of the marriage. Because if the marriage is already dead and gone, I think you could consider divorce on its merit. It's not a general thing.
So on a case-by-case.
On a case-by-case basis. Otherwise, you don't want to end up having women killed, widowed children, an irresponsible man. Because this one, I hope he goes to jail for life.
for murder.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I hope he does. But you see, the problem is what happens to the children.
That's it.
So we forget the repercussions and most of these things. And sometimes,
even if he's alive, he will abuse the children. You don't know that?
Yeah. So the point I'm
Because
making,
his target is gone.
Yes,
So he looks for the next soft target.
The point I'm making is churches must wake up to the responsibility of effective, Pastor said here, effective, counseling. But you see, in this day and age also, you have young men and young women coming to you with already the date of marriage set. They have met in school, they have done everything, and they come and meet you, pastor, they say, we want to get married. So you don't even know when they're married.
If you're telling them, look, are you sure you're compatible? They don't want to hear that.
They are already in love. They don't want to hear you. Anything you say, they are blinded by that love. It is 1-2 years into the marriage, then they begin to scratch their heads and say, what have we gotten ourselves into?
Like me, I courted with my husband for 1 year.
Okay.
Yes. And what used to bring the fight? Eating of beans. My husband loved beans. In fact, that was the food he really loved. So he wanted me to cook beans every day. If it is now, the wisdom would have been, I cook beans for him
and eat everything else.
And cook small soup for myself. So when he comes back and I didn't cook that beans, it was war. until I prayed, I knelt down in prayer. I said, Father, my husband cannot be only eating beans. Deliver me from this. So one day, just woke up and said, okay, no more beans every time. Cook whatsoever. So God answered my prayers.
But I've also seen, I'm much younger. And like you said, it's the mindset with which you go into the marriage as well. The mindset now is that, look, it's a trial thing. If it's not working, you can take a hike. The old school way of doing things was the day you got married, they will sweep your room and pack the dust and send it with you and give out the room to somebody else. Like, you don't have a space here, so you actually stay and sort out issues and conflicts as they come in. I hear people have even modified their marriage vows now. So it's for better.
That's right.
For richer. They don't want to. They don't want to declare negativity over their homes. But then I'm saying, if you're going in with the mindset that, look, we're in this, and we're going to adjust.
I've talked with some young people that don't even want to name marriage, and I asked them, why don't you want to be married? Said, for what?
There's no point.
We've looked at the ones that have gone ahead and the ones around us, our friends. So what is there in marriage? They don't want to waste their time.
But you see, it's also the...
But it's very troubling.
It is.
It is also the irresponsibility of our society, and I say even parents, of not raising children to be problem solvers. We want children, we just want somebody to give us, either they are a good girl for our son to marry, or we just want somebody to give us a good man for our daughter to marry. Somebody else should do the job.
We've not done the work on our own.
Because we need to raise young men and young women that see problems any day and are able to solve them, either marriage or out of marriage. And then you build. So the Bible talks about every marriage, seeing it as a nation. Because as they are set out, they are expected to grow, to multiply, and to build communities and societies, and eventually build nations. That's how at least Jewish nation with Abraham started, and many other nations, if you can go through history. But you see, in this day and age, we don't think that way. We just want give birth to the child. In fact, at the age of 2, the child is already in kindergarten.
School. Did you say 2?
Well, 1.5.
It's actually much earlier. In Lagos, it's like 3 months.
And that is really, really wrong.
And so this is where the problem begins. So
I didn't allow any of my my children to start school before 6.
So you run children that are already brought up by community, by school, and by media.
You homeschool?
Yes. Between that one to that time, they leave for primary 1. Yes. I homeschool them.
Nice.
And they learn everything from me first before they go facing a teacher.
Right. So let's move on from that. I hope we've taken something from that. And let's take the last headline for this morning. And we have the Abuja-Kaduna train that was attacked, and videos came out of the terrorists releasing fresh footage showing their victims in an unidentified location and actually, I don't know if you saw the video,
Yeah.
and actually asking them, you know, their names, identify yourself, what do you do, and the appeal has remained the same, that that government should give them what they want, and they're not saying what it is they want.
Yeah, that's the interesting part I find about this video, and every claim that was made by the Fulani Islamist militia groups that we've seen again and again and again. Because so this is the problem. I mean, every other video before this one, they've said the same thing. And if I'm not mistaken, I think, I don't know if it's one of our governors also did mention, while referring to this case, about bringing them, equipping them to do certain work, either in the political, for the politics or everything, and then now they are here, they've not been sent back. And I think either the governor of Benue or one of them, I can't remember clearly, but the point I'm making is this, that whatever the arrangement is and whatever the point is, I think we are already in a mess, right? Because so this is the problem for me here. You have an organized militia group, devastating communities.
Yes.
Now, they have already collected millions, if not billions of naira in kidnapping and ransom. I don't want to go into the debate as per whether there are those that have also joined them in this big industry of collecting money. But the issue now is you've dented the psyche of the nation has been so impacted and dented, especially in the north, from Borno all the way down to Zamfara, Katsina, and to Sokoto.
Yes.
So you have
and
that
all
problem.
the way up to the River Niger.
And all over the country. So you already have that problem in your hands. But much more, you also have the problem of these people making a claim. They have not said what it is. The government has also refused to admit to what it is.
But so, they keep saying government knows.
But because this is not the first time they're saying the thing. They said there's something that they have asked the government, and the government has refused to. And this is the third video I think I'm hearing this. What is that thing? Why is the government not agreeing or disproving whatever that claim is? Because there are many other videos that have been said. I mean,
there's another one that made the rounds over the weekend. It was not from this. It was from another kidnapping, and her people eventually paid the ransom. And she said, oh, they told her that it was not about the ransom.
Now, so the debate is whether it is true or not that it's not about the ransom. The question, the matter here is this: do we have the capacity and the political will to round up these people?
You said they don't know where they are.
I beg to disagree. I beg to disagree.
And recently they've really zeroed at Kaduna.
It's Kaduna.
You cannot go by air, you cannot go by road, you cannot go by train. So what about Kaduna?
Is the questions that we should be raising.
Yes, because it's very, very funny that the people will come up with this kind of claims. For me, their outing is of no face. Do you understand? When other areas are agitating, there's a demand they make. This is what we want.
Exactly.
So, Boko Haram or all these bandits, what is your problem?
What do you want?
What do you want from Nigerians? What do you want from government? Name it, say it, let everybody hear you.
They say government.
They said they know.
On that note,
so, then they go. Every Nigerian should hold the government.
That's the point we're making.
Because we are keeping quiet too much. And it is the common man, the massive suffering. Look at somebody just entering the train.
There's a student in that was interviewed. There was I mean, I'm even talking about the people that were interviewed. There was a man going for eye treatment that is now a kidnapped victim. There are people go. There are mothers there are all sorts of.
So when this thing happens, everybody goes about their business. Let everything be shut down. Everybody on one spot. Let us make demands on the government.
What is it?
What is the problem? Let us. If we don't ask such questions, everything is just moving in the nation as if all is well. It's a terrible situation.
And that's all the headlines we can take this morning. Politics, and the election year. What is the heart of God in all this? Stay tuned as we go on a short break, after which we will be discussing the topic, involvement of godly women in politics.
Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion invites you to an expository capacity building and destiny changing mission convention. Joshua Generation International Youth Conference. Theme: Manifestation of the Sons of God. Date: Monday 18th to Saturday 23rd April 2022 by 7 a.m. daily at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Ministering: Archbishop Benjamin Kwasi, Brother Bile Akani, Archbishop Edmond Akanya, Bishop Dakpo Asaju, Bishop Foreman Nedison, Chief Mike Adenuga, Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Professor Pat Utomi, and other servants of God. Worship Minister Frank Edwards. Free feeding and accommodation for all participants who registers at www.jgiyc.com. Special guest of honor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Honorable Sunday Dare. Be part of this unusual encounter to unveil the future leaders to spearhead the spiritual and social economic transformation in Africa. Chief host, His Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndukuba and Mrs. Angela Ndukuba. Announcer, Bishop Aloysius Agbo.
You're welcome back, and in case you're just joining us, this is now streaming on ACNN TV. You can also join the conversation through our phone lines or our various social media platforms showing now on your screen. The registration for Joshua Generation is over. I think it closed on the 10th. That was on Friday at midnight. And so on Sunday, rather, at midnight. And so now it's time to prepare to actually attend after registering. 7 a.m. every day at the Moshood Abiola Stadium here in Abuja. And it promises to be a total time of refreshing and knowledge and light. So prepare to attend. There's free food, there's free accommodation, there's free transportation. Just get in touch and everything will be sorted out. There is an increasing clamor for women to get actively involved in politics and the electioneering process. There's also a cry for godly men and women to take their place on the political scene. This, however, brings myriad emotions to the minds of the populace. Still with us in the studio are Hassan John and the Reverend Edidiong John Aino. Oh, John. You're welcome once again.
Thank you.
Viewers, we will be looking in depth at the topic involvement of godly women in politics. Do remember to call in with your thoughts, questions, and comments via our phone lines showing on your screen now. And so, you know, we have seen a rise of Christians declaring their intentions to run for various political positions, you inclusive, ma'am. We have also had professing Christians in various positions of influence in the past. Why do politicians seem to change from their godly ways when they get to positions of power? And why do you think you will be different when you get there? So that's two questions in one.
Yes. Well, it depends on who they are. You know, there are some people that could be easily influenced.
Okay.
You know, political platforms are very serious platform where a lot of things are done. Some things that you have never seen, known. From my little outing during consultations, you know, you are asked to do things that you've never done in your life.
Whoa.
So from my own end, I stood my ground. I said, no, I'm just coming to pay you respect that you've been there. I'm not supposed to come and do this, do that. In fact, I tell them I'm a missionary. Because from day one, I want to get it right. I want everybody to know that I'm a Christian, I'm a missionary, I'm a pastor. So my coming out to go and represent my people and begin to bring resources for their, you know, upkeep, for their, to change the society does not mean I should come and meddle in things that I've never known as a Christian. So some people are weak, you know, when they get to that point because they are, you know, they want to get it by all means, you know, they can just, you know, give in. compromise their faith. But for me, from beginning, if you tell me to do things that I don't like, I know they are evil, I tell you from day one, I say, if you like, vote, if you like, choose me, but I'm not doing this. And everybody in my state, in my own senatorial district, they already know that this one is coming out for truth, and she's a Christian. So I know that I have a vision to come to the parliament, not only representing my people, but God. So nobody will influence me to do the wrong thing.
Wow. So what is your inspiration? I mean,
actually, over the years of my, going from one state to the other, from one nation to the other, doing the work of God, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen the masses suffering. And I know that if there's no voice for them, that situation will continue. And I was so inspired by the women from Rwanda.
Okay.
In 2003...
Yeah, they inspire me a lot too.
Yes. 39 of them were voted into the parliament. And after how many years after, go and see that nation. In fact, I'm planning to go for a conference this year.
You take me along.
Please, come on board. That nation is becoming like Malaysia. And you can trace it back to women in the parliament. So that is what really inspired me. I said, if I can go and also get other women on my platform, NGO platform, Mothers in Nigeria, I talk a lot about this. I said, this is what I need to do in this my time and generation. And I also got inspired by who Deborah was in the Bible. In fact, I just launched a book, Deborah's Anointing.
Nice.
And you could see one woman that was raised by God, a wife.
Yes.
A soldier, a prophetess, and a judge. That is what God wants us to do, whether you're a man or a woman, to be able to dominate the world. So I don't even know why the Christians all over the years have shied away from politics, because the mandate from God was not fulfilled.
I can give you several reasons why they shied away from politics. But the issue really is that because you have also in this country, unfortunately, with the way things are, it seems to be a man's world, where men are predominant, and more so that you're a Christian puts you again 2 steps, below the rung of the expectations, like you rightly said. And it's a tough job. It's a very tough job and a tough expectation for women. But I'm just also curious, just in addition to what you said, because if you're looking at the position of the women in the executive councils of both parties now, and in fact very minimal, so it's a challenge. So how would we begin to look at women, Christian women, in their strength and readiness for the kind of politics in Nigeria? Because it looks like our own kind of politics is something else.
You see, it is the women themselves that have done it to themselves, Okay. Why would you accept a position that in your political party all you get is woman leader, when they are sharing the resources? Are you in that meeting? How do you think you can influence? And look at even the political arenas. When it is time to vote, you find so many women in the polling units. They are the ones there from morning till night. Do you understand?
Yes.
They are the one in the campaigns, they form, just like there's many in the churches and so on. But when it comes to deciding decisions, they are not there. So it is the women, they feel, I don't know how they got to that thinking, that positioning, even in the political party, because I have always thought that though I'm a woman, I respect the men, I give them I remember that God made them to be heads, but I'm the neck. Can you really turn the head without the neck talking? So I've had this in my mindset that I could always be where men are doing something stuff.
So are we ready as a country for a female president?
Well,
let's go right to the top.
we are not yet ready.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Why
because
not?
we need to preach the gospel first and turn the minds, change the mindset of the women. Take them from that. You wake up very early in the morning, you prepare food for your family, you take care of some women don't even want to leave that house to even the meetings in the community. Do you understand? Because they feel my husband, and even the men that are not even restricting them, they are the ones restricting themselves. Like, have been so blessed by a husband that believes that I could go, my wife. Anytime there's any situation, bleak situation, even in the family, he will move around and say, until Deborah arose. He will say
I like that.
Yes, until Deborah. So that thing is, and when I get up to do one or two things, take one or two actions, the situation is solved. So it's been the one. You know,
we need to re-educate the men.
Yes. So
you know what I also think, because again, you know, with the kind of structure we have in this country today, I would say perhaps the focus should be in the upcoming generation of young girls, young women, and begin to build that within them, because the next generation of young women are media savvy. They are they are online, they are on social media. Their mindset is completely different from their mothers. Because the challenge, I think, with the mothers is, if you begin to talk about what she's saying just now, the woman up north has a completely different mindset. You know, she believes she's there just to take care. She's supposed to get as many children as possible. What does the husband say? And anyway, anytime she can be divorced any moment. Anyway. So the economic empowerment, the social understanding, and these things she's at a disadvantage. Now you go down south, you have those ones that they want to be Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. You know, they are up and down. They want to lead the nations. They want to do.
Yes.
So, but I think midstream, whether it is north or south, east or west, you find out that the young girl now, girls between the ages of 12 and I would dare say 30. 35 have a completely different mindset. And the interesting thing and the good thing is they form part of the 70% population of this country.
Okay, we didn't know we're that powerful.
No, we are. No, young men, by the United Nations population numbers now, 70% of Nigerians are below 45.
Yes.
So,
and
about half of them,
45,
and about half of them, depending on where you argue, there are more females than males in this country currently, depending on which statistics you are looking at.
Okay.
So the point therefore now is you can say plus or minus that more than 50 to 60 million Nigerians
are within that.
Are young ladies within that age range. So if we focus and begin to campaign in this area, I think we'll be able to achieve that.
Okay, but then we now have this general belief that politics is dirty, especially for women. What are your thoughts on that?
We go back to the definition of politics. Then we can draw...
Or let's say politics in Nigeria, as done in Nigeria. Politics as done in Nigeria.
See, when I have the opportunity to talk about politics, I go by the definition. You know, I used to, you know, think that politics is or was dirty until I opened the dictionaries and begin to search for the meaning of politics. Let me quote one.
Okay.
Politics is simply the activities associated with the governance of a country or area. Is there anything evil or dark there?
Absolutely
or you can take another one. It's a set of activities that are associated with making decisions in groups or other forms of power relations among individuals, such as the distribution of resources. Is there anything evil in that meaning of politics? No. So it is a lie that was told so that many people that are supposed to be there should not be there. So politics is simply going to represent a particular discussing on behalf of a particular community to bring the resources to empower the lives
of those people.
So it's not anything evil.
Now, Venerable here was talking about the young girl. Let's talk to the young Christian girl. What would be your advice to, let's say, a teenager that has that burning dream that, look, I am the change Nigeria needs, but who everybody, the church is shutting her down, her culture is shutting her down, parents are saying, don't say it again. It's not for you, a good girl. Don't say it again. What is your advice? How does she start? Where does she start from? What is your advice?
We should go back to the church and plead with the church to preach the right gospel about politics. If politics is a game of numbers and representation, and if the Christians are not there, whether they are young or middle-aged, what do you think will happen to us as a church? So for me, I have 2 daughters and I've taught them. In fact, one was supposed to read a political science.
Nice.
But she opted for economics. But there's something that she wrote because of the injection I'm giving them every day. She told me that why she's even going to read economics, because after she wants to understand so that she can join politics and change the narratives of the economy of this country. I said, wow.
Nice.
She's just 18, already thinking like that because of what I'm telling her. So let the mothers educate their children that politics is not evil, you know, taking the type of steps, you know, outside the church. Be godly, know your God, and save God. That is the primary, you know, basic things I teach my children and any young girl. I have them several around me, and even the women, because when you come from that strong point, you can achieve anything. So I don't want to believe that young girls should not get into politics, because if they don't start early, we are still going to have that gap.
Yes. Yes.
The church not being represented. Why are the other camp having more resources than us?
Because they're more represented than we are.
This is the problem. This is the truth. Because if there is something that should come, you know, to the women, to the church, or to the members of the community, and you are not there because you feel that dating is not good. Where did God tell us that we should not? There's some religion that they say until Jesus comes, the kingdom comes. How will the kingdom come? Do you understand? How will it come? Will it, I've read the Bible, will it just be that everything here will be, you know, totally destroyed, then the kingdom will come? Pastor, man of God, yeah, man of God, can you help me?
I do not want to go into that sermon.
Because of time.
Yeah, but because what I would just simply say is that we really need to rethink everything we're doing in this country. Everything. From the constitution, to the politics, to the social structures, to the kind of information we give, you know, to redefining where we go in our future. Because if we don't begin to rethink, all we're doing is we're carrying the evil and we're dumping it to our children and their own children and so on and so forth. And we are not really making the change that we need to. But I think we must rethink.
So it's time for the Deborahs to arise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. Oh, Deborah's anointing.
I've given it to, it's a message for the church.
Nice.
Thank you so
Then
much.
this one, the hand of the woman.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Educating the women to arise.
Yeah, I think we really need to rethink a lot of things.
We do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. We wish you all the best in the elections coming up. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't know if maybe we should rethink sending pastors to contest elections. But we'll see.
We want to rethink it. They should start going. Yes.
It is time.
It is time.
For the
It is
righteous
time.
standards.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you to our viewers for starting the week with us. We hope to spend a little time with you every day for the rest of the week. Remember, now more than ever before, We need to arise and choose what happens in the next 4 years. If you do not have your voter's card, registration has reopened and you should take advantage of the opportunity to vote. If your vote doesn't count, it will not be bought. Be vigilant and alert. If you see something, say something. Above all, remember that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Put your trust in Him. I am Mojisola Olatsinwo. Have an amazing day.